Hey folks, it's George Leoniak, and I'm excited to be here bringing another video from New Geometry. And today we're going to talk about the sprouting seed of life. Okay, so we've heard a lot about the seed of life. This one I'm going to call the sprouting seed of life. And today we're going to kind of do things a little different. I do have a small little presentation set up for you. But I also want to go through the drawing on the iPad as we go. I did this similarly in the Eve's Octahedron Christmas Eve. So we're a few days out from New Year. So I definitely wanted to give you something, a transmission of sacred geometry knowledge and wisdom here in the drawing, so you can see me do the drawing and talk through it as we go, because it's going to be a drawing that's going to contain all the Platonic solids. I feel like I've been polishing a diamond here, and it's continuing to get more clear as we go along. So let me share the screen. So we're going to go to the iPad drawing app first, and then we'll switch over. But I want to just walk you through why I think this sprouting seed of life is a really great drawing to start off our new year coming up. So let me share the screen here, and should go in just a second. And here it is. Okay, so yeah, so I said I was going to try some new things out, a little different, to kind of walk through the drawing so you could see how this is constructed. So the first thing we're going to do, of course, is we're going to draw our seed of life. Now, this is traditionally seen as the first act of creation, is the first circle, with the six other circles coming around the first circle to do the 7 days of a creation story. And this fits nicely within the sacred geometry view and the geometric drawing that we're doing here. So now this is where, and this is something you can easily draw along. All you need to do is set your compass and start doing these circles by bringing them over to the edge of the initial circle. But this is where things get a little different, is we're now going to construct a larger circle around. It's twice the diameter, or twice the radius of the original circle. And it's going to go all the way around. So you just go and plant your needle there and pencil there and swing that. Now we're going to do that all the way around. Okay. And this to me is the sprouting seed of life. So the seed of life has gotten a little moisture and is now starting to expand in its size. So we're not going to do the flower of life, all the extra circles. We're pretty much going to do these 13 circles. And this is the really interesting thing now, because in this, we have all the points to do these lines, which are going to show you as we go along. This point is meeting one of the original circles, and it's connecting along one of the other larger circles that we added. And it's going to go all the way through. It's going to go through the top of the vesica. It's going to take a slight turn here and end up at the other side. Okay, so these you're going to have to hunt around and find, but these are the key lines. And we're going to create an equilateral triangle that is based on the connection point of those lines. This is all going somewhere. You know, I'm not just doing a pretty design here, or, you know, looks a little chaotic, because we're used to seeing this triangle in a lot of these drawings straight on, but we're going to do another. And there's going to be 39 lines we're going to draw, but I'm going to show you why we're doing that in a moment. So we're going to do another triangle there, and you could see that they're just connecting to those points. They're cutting through the vesica, and they're starting to create other points within here. And then we're going to do another set of equilateral triangles here and here. So these are our first 12 lines in the sprouting seed of life. Everything is going to be contained within our drawing, because we're going to be able to produce the dodecahedron, the icosahedron, rhombic trichontahedron, the Platonic solids. You know, a lot of different forms are going to come out of this accurately, and it's all going to be nested within this. So we've got those lines that we've put down. Next step is we're going to do another equilateral triangle. Now this one you could see is connected to this little bulge here around the edge of the circle here where the overlapping circles meet. So we've got that one. Now every line is specific. I'm not just putting them in here for no reason at all. You're going to see this is all going to add up because that one created to the nice central hexagon. And around this, we're going to have to put in another large hexagon that goes around it, that's inside the very first circle that we created. So all these supporting lines, all these supporting circles and lines, all are formulating around that central circle that is the first movement in the creation, right? So here it is, it's all in the first circle. Now we're going to add in equilateral triangle into the center, and we're going to reverse that and do the upward pointing one. So we have the two triangles overlap. Now these ones are straight on. Now that much we feeling good about that. We got something that we're a little more familiar with, seeing the Star of David, or maybe called the Merkaba view, or the vertex views of the cube. It could be an octahedron, could be a lot of things, but I'm going to show you what the way this is in this drawing, what it turns out to be in a moment. We're going to add in the long lines just to connect through the centers, because these are all part of the drawing. All right. And then the next thing we're going to do is add these little crossbars. And you might be wondering, what are these little bars about? There's right at these little segmentations. We're going to add that. It goes across to there. And then we're going to add another one here. We're going to do 6 of those. And as I said, it's going to add up to 39 lines all the way around until we get kind of this conglomeration of lines and circles. And from that, we already have the dodecahedron, icosahedron, and the rhombic trichontahedron perfectly laid out in that drawing. I mean, they're already there in it. All we have to do is then highlight some of those lines to pull out the features that we want. Now, that was the only steps that I wanted to show you on the iPad, because I don't want to just start messing around coloring different lines. I've got that all set up for you in the presentation. So I'm just going to pop over there, but let's just reverse this very quickly, and then I'll go through it again very quickly. So you could just see how simple this drawing is. So we're just going to go through the steps, back it out, and just show one more time down the one. And that's it, folks. That was where I should have cued the background music, but didn't have that set up for you. So now I'm gonna, like I said, I'll pop out and I'll stop this share, and I'll hop over to my other screen share and just show you what we just did and what's in there, and kind of reveal what all those lines are about and the circles. So, okay, here is what we just did, just a refresher of the 7 circles with the 13. Now you could add a 14th circle that would just go around the seed of life. And in fact, you could fill in the flower of life within these. And that's a cool way to see this pattern kind of expand, that I mean, is not just isolated to this. In fact, we can do every single circle on this. Once we start to replicate that pattern further out, we're going to be able to reproduce all those forms. It's the interaction of these circles that is creating those lines. So now here is the 39 connecting lines within the 13 circles, right? So they're just all built in. You know, pause this one if you want, study it, do the drawing very quickly. What a great way to kind of start the new year. But this is where it gets cool, because other than just kind of a line drawing like this, now let's pull out where the icosahedron actually is in there. Now I'm only going to show you like a solid view of the icosahedron as if it's facing you. And this is the accurate version of the icosahedron, where this triangle is in relationship, phi relationship edge to this edge that's going to be back here. So I've kind of lighted up the back lines of the template that we're working with, and now just over tracing dark lines on top of the pattern that was already there. So the icosahedron, of course, is the water element. It's got the 20 faces, 12 vertices, and 30 edges. The next step is we're going to do our dodecahedron. Now, remember those little cross lines that I did in? I said, hey, what are these about? Well, I decided to include those in the initial drawing. Because if we would have ended with 33 lines, but I think it's nice to complete the drawing and do the whole full dodecahedron that is also in these lines. So we've added those cross lines. And of course, this is a pentagon face that is in phi proportion. So if you were to flip that face up flat, it would look like a flat pentagon, perfect 5-pointed polygon and 5-pointed star within it. So there's our dodecahedron. Now, I'm not going to show you all the cubes in this, but that is how we would get our cube, 5 cubes within this. So that's the other Platonic solid, and of course, the tetrahedrons that would be in this. So of course, we've got the 12 vertices. Now, this is a dual form, meaning that it's it's kind of the reciprocal version of the icosahedron. It's dual, meaning that they flip-flop in faces to vertices, meaning that, this one has 20 faces, this one's got 12 faces and the 20 vertices. So now we're going to go, and here's the rhombic trichontahedron, which is the kind of culmination of the dodecahedron and icosahedron fused together. And you could see the light lines, which I'm Xing over. Both of those lines are on those rhombic faces. Now, the rhombic trichontahedron, I have a lot in my other videos. That's a rhombic face, which has a proportion of 1 to 0.618. So it's a golden proportion face. There's 30 faces made up, and it's made, the underlying structure of that is the rhombic, is the dodeca and the icosahedron together. And now our drawing, remember we created that central hexagon with those cross lines? Well, that's how we created that form, and we already had the hexagon and everything's in there that we need. We just are highlighting the lines. Now, this also has a dual form, and this is the, whoops, got to change that one. It's not the rhombic trichontahedron. It's the icosahedron. Icosahedodecahedron. Icosahedodecahedron, and that one also has 32. That has 32 faces, 30 vertices, and those 30 vertices are going to land right on the center point of our rhombic face. So this one is made up of 12 pentagons and 20 equilateral triangles. So it's kind of a mix of the dodeca faces, the dodecahedron, and the icosahedron faces, hence the name icosahedodecahedron. And of course, those lines are all within our drawing too. The only thing we had to do here is we just had to draw one line that kind of went through here to locate this point. So we had to do 6 cross lines, but that was a minor thing. I didn't include that in the initial drawing. So what a rich drawing this sprouting seed of life has offered, these 4 forms plus many more that I'm not going to go into, that are all in here. And this is where we'd get our the octahedron, the 8-sided Platonic solid. That is actually all the vertices within this form are octahedrons. So we can get our octahedron within this as well. So all the Platonic solids are in here. Now, there's one other form that I thought was cool that just kind of showed up in the pattern. It doesn't actually, is not being shown nested like all these other ones are from this. They're all nested in here, meaning that they're all in kind of relationship with one another, and all the Platonic solids that would be in there, they're all nested. But I wanted to show the cube octahedron from the kind of view that we're used to seeing. The vector equilibrium is such an important form that has been highly studied as of late by many physicists, or a few physicists, who are Nassim Haramein, particularly checking out the vector equilibrium based on the work of Buckminster Fuller. We're going to talk about this one in relationship to the icosahedron in an upcoming video, but I thought this was very interesting because this equilateral triangle that we have in the middle is the same size as the one that we use for our icosahedron way back here. So it's the same one. And we're going to return to visit that as the jitterbug that Buckminster Fuller created. I have one over there. It's not, I can't reach it right now. But as you manipulate that a little bit from the cube octahedron, it will go through a transformation and go into creating the icosahedron. So we're going to, and it maintains the same triangular face. So that's going to be a cool way to look at the relationship of those two forms within this drawing. Now, here's another cool one that just as I was preparing to do the slideshow an hour or so ago, you know, I love to look into these forms and see what lines, and there's so much in here that is waiting to be discovered. For instance, I just picked up this form here and, you know, connected a few lines together and recognized that this is going to make a golden hexagon face with the equilateral triangle. So it's basically a truncated tetrahedron, and I just decided to build it for us because I love the golden hexagon face. It shows up in a lot of interesting structures, and I have more videos on the golden hexagon coming out and what I've been discovering about it. And I have a video already called the golden hexagon in 3 new forms, which 2 of them are not new forms, and probably this one isn't either, but they're new to me. So anyway, this was just right in our drawing. And like I said, this has got so much more to discover within patterns like this, and how the phi-based golden circles. Now, in my other videos, you might be wondering what this video, like where are the golden circles? Because normally the way I've been doing my drawings is I'll do the seed of life and then I'll start drawing in the golden circles. Well, you'll be pleased to know that like the golden circles are built in to this design. Where they meet on the edge is right where the dodecahedron is. So all I have to do is just draw the circles in, and the points that you need are already given based on those 39 lines that we drew. So this is a real kind of condensed drawing to like Occam's razor, you know, the most simplest solution. I think this may be, after all my polishing the diamond, the simplest solution that I've discovered. And that's why I've kind of taken the time to show you the drawing on the iPad, just to walk you through those steps, because I do feel patterns like this are definitely revolutionary. I have never seen them produced anywhere else. So I'm hoping that you give them a try and give me some feedback to how these resonate working with these patterns. If you're particularly new or into sacred geometry for a while, I think you're going to find something quite interesting in these. So here's the other pattern of the small stellated dodecahedron. Now what I've done is all I did, now that I've got my phi circles, we've pretty much recreated what I'm calling Eve's icosahedron within this pattern. My previous 2 videos are all about Eve's icosahedron. Well, this just kind of led me to it, the sprouting seed of life, as we added the water, right? The icosahedron element, the phi circles to this. We poured our pitcher of water on our seed, and all of a sudden, boom, the small stellated dodecahedron, the echidnahedron, which I still have over here. I didn't put that in the slideshow. Oh boy, the icosahedron is just going to blossom all these stellated forms, which there's like 59 different stellated versions, and there's a handful just in this drawing. So that's kind of just a quick overview of the drawing I wanted to show you, that I'm excited about people getting their eyes on and working with their hands with if they'd like to get into doing the drawing. So thanks a lot for watching this video. As I said, I think these drawings are really ripe for the new year, bringing in the new and the KNEW new, you're going to potentially open up, unlock all sorts of new creativity when entering into a new relationship with these forms and seeing how a lot of these connections are all made. All the structures are connected. Now, traditionally, in the flower of life, seed of life, Metatron's cube, it's trying to produce the Platonic solids, but is not doing it. So this one really resonates with phi-based structures 100%. So pour some water on your seed of life in the new year, and let's see it sprout. So much love and appreciation. And check out my Patreon site if you want to do some more drawings. I've got a thing going on there where I'm producing some work each month that you can be part of, the kind of book that I'm creating. And as well, I've got a New Geometers Facebook group. So join the discussion over there as well. And please subscribe if you like the video, and I'll see you next time. And Happy New Year.